Welcome back, all you beautiful bulletproof handymen and women. So, if I've done my job well, I've got a list here of what I think is everything you need to know about basic handyman business insurance or any construction trades business insurance, and hopefully nothing that you don't need to know. I'm trying to keep this as condensed as possible without leaving anything out that you really need to know about. So, we're just going to jump right in, and right off the bat, if you want to have a business and you want to do business with any other business, also homeowners, but specifically any other business, you have to have general liability insurance for your business. And a lot of people think that general liability covers everything. It does not. So let me explain to you what general liability is. And I'm going to try to break this down into the way that I can understand it, which I think is the way you can understand it, which is bodily injury, property damage, and accidents. But I want you to just think of this basically as accidents. This is for things that occur at your client's place, whether it's their house or their place of business. These are things that occur while you're there working that cause some sort of damage. So generally speaking, we're going to call this accidents. You got to have general liability. You should not run your business without it, and you won't be able to run your business without it if your clients are asking you for it, and they probably will. So the next type is commercial property. So this would apply to, especially if your business owns a building, but it can also apply to your other equipment, your inventory. It can apply to your tools. It depends on which carrier you're going through. Some of them have a separate line for tools. But commercial property essentially is going to cover the property, not that you own, but that the business owns. Next, professional liability. This is a very important one. This is one that I don't have that I'm going to be getting very soon. I'm just trying to figure out sort of what levels I want to go ahead and pay for. But professional liability, number one, a lot of this has to do with if you get sued. So if you, whether it's for an accusation of negligence, whether you were negligent or not, an accusation of negligence, errors that you made where you literally didn't do your job right, which again would not be an accident like under general liability. Misrepresentation is a big one. Let's say you agree to redo somebody's bathroom and you put it all in writing, but in the end, the client thinks that you agreed to do X amount of work when in fact you agreed to do this much work, and now they're suing you because they think that the money they paid you was for this when in fact it was for this. So the professional liability, a big part of that is going to go into if you get sued, then this is going to help cover your court costs. Next, commercial auto. You do need to have auto insurance for your business. You need to have commercial auto insurance for your business. That's going to be a necessity. If you are using your personal vehicle to do business and something happens and your insurance needs to step in and they find out that you were not using your personal vehicle, like your personal insurance policy, if they find out that you were using it for business, they're not going to cover anything. So you do need to have commercial auto for whatever vehicle you're using for the business. Next, I kind of mentioned before, but tools and equipment. Now, you can get tools and equipment coverage from most carriers. You can get that as part of a commercial property plan, or some of them have it listed out separately as just tools and equipment. I suggest that you get it covered. I've had quite a few guys on this channel. Justin Riley was one of them recently. And yes, he did give me permission to mention his name. Justin Riley had about $10,000 worth of tools and equipment stolen from his vehicle. Workman's comp. Now, most of you guys aren't going to be having any W-2 employees. However, if you do, you're going to need workman's comp. And I do have clients of my own who require me to have workman's comp insurance just because I have 1099 workers. And it's completely pointless. It wouldn't cover anything even if I tried to use it. But they've asked me to provide workman's comp insurance, even with the understanding that I don't have any W-2 employees. So I got it. I think it added about $50 a month. It's not too bad because you're not really trying to cover anybody or anything. And then finally, so all of these can be wrapped up into a business owner's policy. That's the name of the policy. You'll be looking for one of two things. You'll be looking for either just general liability. So if you're just trying to get what you need to get started, you want to go out and start doing jobs next week, bare minimum viable product that you have to have is going to be general liability. However, if you're smart and you want to protect your tools, your equipment, you want to protect yourself against getting sued in the future if you did your job wrong or if you're simply accused of doing your job wrong, auto insurance, all of that other stuff. If you want more than just the general liability, then what you're looking for is a business owner's policy. And I've also got just a handful of things you need to know. I think the most common question that I get 5, 6, 10 times a week is who do I get my insurance through? So I go through Next Insurance. Next is they're kind of the umbrella over the construction trades. Almost any tradesman that you talk to, there are some of them who have their own specific policies with local agents and stuff, but most of the construction trades, including handyman business, Next kind of specializes specifically in the construction trade, so they have a lot more experience with it. They're going to understand what kind of coverage you need and what you're trying to accomplish with your policy. So I use Next. I do have a link in the description if you want to get a quote from them. Another common question is how many quotes you should apply for. People ask me like, hey, should I just go with one company or should I get multiple quotes? I think it's fairly obvious it's a good idea to get multiple quotes, but I do want to give you one warning. I don't know if this is true or not, but in my research, what I found was a lot of people saying, like from the insurance industry, saying that, if you go get 2 quotes, probably not a big deal. If you go and get 3 quotes, also probably not a big deal. But you don't want to go shopping for quotes all across the internet, because every time you put your info in and request a quote, this goes electronically up through a system, and they can see, similar to if you search airline flights, you don't want to go search 15 different websites. As you search, the price starts getting higher and higher because they see a higher search volume, either from your IP address or just from your city to another city. But when those search results or when the search requests start shooting up, your price starts going up. So don't go plaster the internet with quote requests. Definitely get one from Next. I'm going to say that for sure because, like I said, they're kind of the mainstay in this industry. And if you want to get 2 or maybe 3, that's fine, but just don't go putting in like 12 quotes or you're going to find the rates are going to start going up on those quotes. Let's see. Exclusions matter. I don't know how to word this in a technical sense, but every policy you get, every policy, this includes personal auto policies, other types of business policies, with all insurance, there's a section about exclusions. I'm not saying that you can even understand it, because I can't, but exclusions do matter. Every policy is going to say, we exclude this, meaning we won't cover these things. So take a look at the exclusions if you can figure out what they mean, and just know that there are going to be things. For example, an exclusion might be if you hire a subcontractor who does not have insurance, then your insurance is not going to cover that subcontractor who has gone onto your website or gone onto your work site. He's going to need to have his own insurance, or you're going to need to get him additionally insured under your policy before sending him. Next, roofing matters. Roofing really matters. Everybody always asks me like, hey, how come my quote is so high? If you say you're doing roofing, then right off the bat, and it's not so much about the roof, it does matter that it's a roof, because if there's a leak on a roof, the damages that can be caused from that are quite significant. But really the added expense of roofing to get that covered on your policy is because you're going to be going up high. I don't remember how many feet it is, but if you're over 4 feet or 6 feet or 8 feet, the higher you're going to be up on ladders and up on roofs, up on top of decks, like second-story decks, all of that, if you're going to be up in the air, then your liability insurance, your general liability, is going to get higher real fast. So if you need to save money, maybe don't offer roofing as a service, at least until you get established, and then once you're established and you've got that income, I think you'll find that it's well worth it to go ahead and add roofing. Or if you can afford it now, add roofing now, but just know that roofing will make a very large difference in how much you're going to be paying for your minimum general liability. And then finally, this is just sort of an overall, if you do anything that you know is illegal, your insurance is not going to cover it. So if you're doing work that you're not licensed to do, especially if you know you're not licensed to do it, your insurance isn't going to cover it. Anything you do, this should just be by default. I don't think y'all will be confused by this. But if it's something that you know is illegal or against regulations for you to do, and you do it, insurance ain't going to cover you breaking the law. And finally, cost. As far as cost, this can vary extremely widely. Things in California are going to cost different than things in rural Tennessee. But generally speaking, I think the minimum you're going to be paying per month, it may be a little under 100, but let's call it 100 to 200. If you're an owner-operator, handyman, trying to get coverage to go full-time, working all day, every day, you're anticipating somewhere between $80,000 and $150,000 a year worth of revenue for your first year, just the average one of us that's doing what we're doing. The cost is going to be, let's call it between 100 and 200 a year. Now, you can get it lower. You absolutely can. There's a lot of ways to get it lower. There's a lot of ways to get it higher. Like I said before, exclusions matter. You're going to find that the cheapest plans you find are going to have an encyclopedia of exclusions, and you can pay $1,000 a month and have almost no exclusions. So the exclusions have a lot to do with this, whether your roofing has a lot to do with it. But if you're trying to be a general handyman, expect to pay ballpark $100 to $200 a month. And that may seem expensive at first, but when you can charge $100 or more per hour for the time you're putting in, this is really a very minor cost. And like I said, guys, you have to have this. So if y'all want to get started, please do get your insurance. Like I said, there is a link to Next Insurance. That's who I've used for, I think, 3 years, probably more than 3 years now, is Next Insurance. So go to the description and get a quote from them. If you want to get one or two other quotes, go ahead, but don't put out too many feelers for insurance or you're going to see those rates going up. Other than that, I wish you guys good luck. I hope you're all out there killing it. I hope your business is extremely successful, and I will see y'all on the next episode.